Hello, dear students. Welcome to the Bajirao IS Academy. Today is 16th December, and we are going to discuss the daily Hindu newspaper analysis. So, in today's session, we have to discuss two important articles. The number one article is related to urban flooding. And regarding this topic, UPSC had asked numerous questions, and you can relate with the previous year paper. Just visit the previous year paper of the mains and you will find that within the 10 year UPSC asked 4 to 5 questions regarding the urban flooding or the flooding, because flooding is a very serious issue in India. Almost every year some or the other state face the crisis of flooding. So here we will discuss specifically related to the Chennai flooding and how we can have better mechanism to sort it out to come out from this crisis. Then further we will shift to the second article that will be related to inflation. Here we will understand the basics about the inflation and how it affects the growth and consumption of a people, specifically for the marginalized and the vulnerable section. Okay, and if you are enjoying our article series editorial discussion, please do like, share, subscribe with your friend circle so that your friend also gets benefited. And remember, we are providing you the discussions about previous year mains paper. So kindly visit if you hadn't visited before. So let's start. And the first article you can relate with GS paper 1. So when we talk about the context, you know that recently the Chennai city or the Tamil Nadu faced the flood crisis due to cyclone Michang, and we have seen the devastation in terms of people's migration, in terms of the infrastructural crisis, in terms of the transportation, in terms of communication, many more things. And this is not the first time that Chennai faced this crisis. Apart from that, in 2005, 2015, and again in 2020-23. So what we can conclude here, that flooding is a common phenomena, but when it comes to the solution does not comes here. So why the solution do not comes? Because of the many factors. But first of all, tell me, whom do we make responsible for this crisis? Whether it's the government, whether it's the climate change, whether it's the infrastructural lacunas in the urban cities, whom do we make responsible? But currently, we do make climate change as responsible. And do you think that via this blame game we try to get out from our responsibility? The government tries to get out from the responsibility, because we know that these type of crisis will come and we are evidence with the data, but still no action gets completed, no action gets taken. So yes, we know that climate change is a concern, and these are also affecting the extreme weather events like flooding, drought like scenario in India. But only climate change is responsible, or we are also responsible? Yes, we are also responsible. And we have to ask some question like, did this incident caused due to the historical human errors or the blunder? And if this was the case, then to what extent the state or the government helped mitigate floods and droughts? And what are the lessons that we learned from the past extreme event? Because these extreme events is not new to India or to this city or the state, but already these incidents occurred. And what should be done to make the city of Chennai flood resistant, resilient? Okay, and the most important thing you should understand, that how we can convert these type of disaster into opportunity. Okay, we know that these are disaster like flooding, drought, all are disasters. Okay, but if we are able to convert into opportunity, what benefit we will get? First of all, we will be having surplus water, and you know that Tamil Nadu or the Chennai face the freshwater crisis, and that's why there is a fighting between Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, okay, regarding the Kaveri water dispute. So if we have access to water, and if we are able to convert this problem into opportunity, so many of the problems related to the water resource can be sorted out. Do you believe it? So that is the main point we need to understand, and that's why few suggestions has been highlighted here. But we have to understand something about Chennai. So when we talk about Chennai, it is a very important and prosperous city of Tamil Nadu. But look at the location where it is located. It is located near the coast. This is Bay of Bengal. Okay, and here Chennai is located. So this is the coastal city. And despite all of this, the climate change is becoming a real issue, and because of that, global warming is having its impact, and it can lead to sea level rise, and that's why the Chennai as an important city is vulnerable to this sea level rise. Okay, and apart from that, heavy rainfall during retreating monsoon, and we know it better with respect to the geographical concept. Okay, and apart from that, we have one of the fastest growing urbanized city. So these are some problems due to the climate change, problems due to the excessive urbanization, problems due to the nearer to the coast. Okay, but there is an opportunity as well, and there is a solution as well. And please try to remember the map of Tamil Nadu and some important physiographical features, because this can be asked in the UPSC prelims question. Some important city. Okay, try to remember this. Now we are shifting to some of the suggestion. So first of all, we need to decode Chennai's urban and peri-urban hydrology, its ecosystem in its totality. What do you mean by hydrology, and what do you mean by like urban and peri-urban hydrology? First of all, when we talk about hydrology, it is a branch of a study where we try to understand the water resources, the distribution of water resource, whether it is surface water, whether it is subsurface water. Okay, so if we are able to understand that where the rivers are there, what is the total catchment area, what are the tanks or the irrigation tanks available, what are the reservoirs available, so we can identify the potential area where the excess water can be conserved, can be restored, and can be utilized in case if there is a drought, and also excess water supply can be consumed, can be conserved here. So first of all, we need the mapping. Okay, and apart from that, we can be able to highlight the strength and weakness of the hydrology, and then we will apply the strength and the weakness to turn into the action for flood mitigation, for handling drought, for building climate resilient strategy for Chennai. So here we will identify the problem, we will then make it into action, and then we will try to make Chennai based on climate resilient strategy. So this is not that it can be applicable only in Chennai. Even you can recommend for other cities in India as well where these type of crisis goes happens. And let's say for example you can apply for the Mumbai as well, because Mumbai is also the coastal city. Okay, so try to link and try not to be restricted in a particular domain. Okay, so when we talk about another issue, so when we talk about like Chennai physiography, so there can be a region that can be called as upper stream, and there can be a region that can be called as downstream. So upper stream, that means water will be available here, okay, in the sufficient amount, and the downstream means from the upstream the water will be going towards the downstream region. Okay, like we see upper riparian state or lower riparian state, that is the similar concept. So here, like, you have to understand something about watershed development. So when we talk about watershed development, what occurs in this process is like we have certain designated area, and in that area we have identified certain water reservoirs in the form of tanks, in the form of rivers, in the form of tributaries, in the form of streams, and we try to manage each and every reservoir particularly specifically. Like for example, we have the tanks. Okay, so what we will do, we will try to ensure that the tanks or the reservoirs gets rejuvenated, so that excessive water if comes due to the rainfall, it can be stored and then it can be utilized for future purpose if there is a water deficiency. So that is the basis of watershed development. So that will boost the irrigation, that will boost the agriculture, that will reduce the water crisis. So this benefits comes from watershed development. Okay, so this is the concept. Here in this article, there is a talk about we have to do these type of watershed development as well, because we have about 3,588 irrigation tanks in certain districts like Kanchipuram, Chengalpattu, and Tiruvallur district. So these tanks are getting shrinked. These tanks are getting reduced and they are being covered, encroached by the silt and siltation and the buildings and the constructions and the roads, etc. Okay, so we need action, and these tanks needs to be conserved, protected, rejuvenated. And here, one important thing, that when monsoon comes in Tamil Nadu, so these tanks gets recharged. So if these tanks gets encroached, the area gets reduced, their depth gets reduced. So what problem will happen, that if there is a excess supply of water from precipitation from the rainfall, so there will be a double disadvantage, like little water storage first of all, and then very high runoff. That means water if coming via precipitation, majority of the water will go in vain, will not be reserved, will not be conserved. And that's why, despite we have the excessive rainfall, we have the potential to capture this fresh water that can be utilized for our consumption for the irrigation purpose, but these are not getting fulfilled. We waste our precious water resource just by washing away these water. Okay, so what needs to be done? First of all, study the urban and peri-urban water dynamics, interconnected hydrological conditions, and apart from that, map water bodies. And if you are able to map water body, let's say in certain area we have different water bodies, so we will try to integrate with all these. So what will happen, like if these tanks or the reservoir get excess water, they will be supplied to this region, they will supply to this region. So this is the basic thing that the article wants to say. So the missing links between these tanks needs to be restored. Okay, and apart from that, these water body needs to be restored to their original capacity, and even they need to double their capacity, so that if there is excess water coming via precipitation or these type of extreme weather event like cyclone, so this can be utilized, this can be conserved. And also a comprehensive hydro elevation mapping needs to be drawn up, covering the upstream, downstream watershed with Chennai and the sea. And there is another important dimension you will understand about Chennai, that Chennai is gifted via three rivers or more than three rivers. We are talking about district, we are not talking about the state. So you will observe that most of the district in India, maybe we have either one river passing or the crossing, or maybe at max two. Okay, but here there are four rivers, even tributaries, streams are flowing via Chennai city. And in monsoon, these streams get filled up via waters, via precipitation. So that's why In that time, there is a chances of flooding. But if you observe, then we can transform this problem into opportunity, because these rivers gives you lots of water during monsoon, and if we have the proper storage system or the reservoir or the tanks, we can utilize this and we can conserve this and we can protect this and we can use them in the future for our various growth and prospect purpose. Okay, so for this, the waterways needs a year-long attention and maintenance, not the short-term maintenance. And also, many drains as well as the 2,900 kilometer long storm water drain network constructed, they also needs the year-long attention and maintenance. Okay. And there is another problem we can highlight here about the rising urban expansion. What we are saying here, that we know that urban city always starts to expand in its periphery. So currently the main central Chennai region is also getting expanded. So if these cities are getting expanded, but at what cost? At the cost of environment, at the cost of deforestation, at the cost of filling up of these tanks, reservoirs, the lakes, the wetlands. So what we are doing, we are like reducing the water reservoir, we are like filling up these water reservoir or the wetlands at the cost of our development and the infrastructure growth. So what will happen if there is like excessive water or excessive rainfall? So we will not able to protect our urban city, and that is the problem, and hence we need to take care of. So urban expansion process is irreversible and can be disastrous if not regulated. And we have the evidence like earlier when the Chennai city was being expanded, so little care given in protecting the ecological hotspot. And in this process, Chennai lost many water bodies, lakes, ponds, and marsh and coastal wetland as well. But what we are seeing that currently the Chennai is being expanded, okay, from the existing 1,189 square kilometer to 5,904 square kilometer. We are not talking about entire Chennai, but certain parts of the Chennai, which is main central region. See, so these are being expanded to cover more district. And what will happen? The destruction will happen, the deforestation will happen, the filling up of the lakes and the reservoirs will happen, the wetlands will be destructed. So it will lead to more crisis. So what is the conclusion here? What is the suggestion here? That at least now the Chennai Metropolitan Development Authority, they should notify certain ecological hotspot and declare certain region at no development zone, so that these regions should be kept apart, kept away from the intrusions or encroachment, and let the nature to be grown, let the nature to develop in its full potential in these region. Otherwise we only focusing on the development, we are only focusing on the growth infrastructure, but we are not taking care of the nature, and then how the nature will take care of us. And these are evidence from the incident that we are facing. Okay, so it will ensure protection to existing lakes. Around 4,000 lakes will be protected if we apply this concept into the master plan 3 that is being proposed in Chennai. Okay, and this will protect again the floodplains, forest, major drains, flood buffers, and wetlands. So hope friends you understood this article, and this was very interesting article, and hope you enjoyed a lot. Now we are shifting to the second article, and it is related to inflation, and you can cover it in GS paper 3. So when we talk about this article, you may know that if you goes to buy some vegetables, goods, stuffs, what you are seeing that the cost of these vegetables are very high, are increasing with time. Okay, so why these costs are increasing at a fast pace? This we call inflation. Inflation, specifically the retail inflation, or we can call it as the consumer price index inflation, because here the majority of the household, that they consume their products, whether it is vegetable, whether it is the rice, wheat, jowar, pulse, sugar, these all comes into the retail inflation. And majority of the population in India are dependent on these for their nutrient, for their development, for their growth, for their productivity. So if the prices of these products are increasing, so the burden will be on the poorer section, marginalized section, and this will affect the consumption in India overall, because these population comprise about 70%. Okay, and hence we need to take care of it. We need to have a control over the retail inflation, the vegetables, the food stuffs. Okay, but the data is showing different trend. The data is showing that there can be the resurgence in the retail inflation. So here we have told you about the basics of retail inflation, that it can also be called as consumer price index, and it is a rate at which the price of goods and services that consumers buy for personal use increase over the time. And it also measures the change in the cost of a basket of goods and services that are typically purchased by household. These are the common household that they buy these products on the daily basis for their consumption, for their nutrients. Okay, so that is the thing. And if these are very costly, let's say the price of onion, the price of tomato that we call as TOP, the prices are increasing. So the poorer section will not able to consume the onions because the price is very high, and they have to sacrifice for their nutrients. They have to sacrifice for their vegetables, and many times we can see that people do not buy the subjis and they only eat via aloo sabji. So this should not be done, and the price needs to be controlled because this affects the majority of the population in India. Okay, and the current situation showcase that the prices are very high, they are increasing, they are having the growth rate in terms of inflation. If you talk about the cereals, so you can see that there is a price rise of about 10.3%, and apart from that, for the vegetables we have the average price rise of about 17.7%. Okay, and this is not only the case of cereals and vegetables, but also with case of the rice, wheat, and the core cereal of jowar, which is a rural hinterland staple. And recently we are seeing the surge in the price of onion, and there is a statement that why this price is rising, it is all because weather and also depleting groundwater. So this can have long-term perspective, because if the groundwater is getting depleted, so this will affect the agriculture, and if agriculture gets affected, this will affect the food security, and if food security gets affected, this will affect the majority of the population in India, because these are poor, vulnerable, and they lack the good income, the good wage, so that they can supplement their family, they can supplement their children, they can supplement the growth of the children, their education, and many more things. Okay, because these are basic necessity, and if we are not able to curb the inflation, so the poorer population gets affected too much. Okay, so that is the point. Hope you understood, right? And now we are sitting to the last section of the discussion, and here you have to solve the prelims PYQ, and just pause the video and then answer the question and give them your response in the comment box. Thank you, friends. Thank you for the participation. We will discuss with next article discussion, and please do like, share, subscribe. Thank you. Have a nice day.